tonight, if it is your choice to do so, this can be the beginning of your growth into greatness. Define greatness as you see it. Define whatever you feel as being great. Is it a great pool shot? Is it a great race driver? Is it just a great human being? Is it a great helper of people? Is it a great preacher? What is it that you think is great? For the first time in my life, I can honestly tell you, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that if you desire to do it, this can be your start of your growth into greatness. And ladies and gentlemen, you have been born and you will die. Now that much I'll guarantee you. The real key is what will be a theme in your life in between. What will your theme be? Because you will have one. Good or bad, you will have it. While I am passing through this life, I personally would like to be able to contribute something other than just a journey. Not for glory and not for money. I will take that if it's part of it, but that is not the mainstream. Money is a standard by which you measure a human being, but it is not the only standard. Money is a result, not a cause. Think about that phrase, your growth into greatness. That is a wonderful way to begin your life this night. And you will find you have a great deal of company. Every time before I go to speak to a group of people, to say things which I truly believe in, I like to get away by myself and once again ask the question, are these things right? Are these things true? Are these good things for those people to do? Will it, in fact, actually improve their lives? I remember when I was making $100 a week for myself, my wife, and one child. And we used to ask ourselves and talk about it as people will, what could we do, if in fact anything, that would give us hope and a definite plan for a better financial future and some of the finer things of life. Everything kept focusing back to us. You can't blame the economy. You can't blame the government. You can't blame the labor unions. It was us that everything started with, and finally it got through our heads that, number one, we could change it. And that was the most difficult part, really, was believing that we could change our financial future. We could actually do something about it that would guarantee improvement if we were willing to work at it. That, I think, was the most exciting day in my life. That realization that it could be better, that it was going to be better, that we were going to make a difference in it. Words are very clumsy when you try to express the depth of that emotion. But we found out that there are about 3 things that we could work on. 3 things about a human character that made that character have more value. Courage is a part of a human character that is so necessary that it almost sounds ridiculous to discuss it. But for myself, I was missing it for quite a few years. And I tell you something. I used to wonder, and Bobby Depew and I have been together for over 10 years, and we used to ride around when Bobby was a part-time school teacher down in Lindsay, California, a town of 4,800 people, and I'm there as the Ben Franklin variety merchant going down the tubes but afraid to tell it, you know. We used to ride around because we liked each other, and here's the kind of thing we used to say, and I'm serious. I looked at I said, what's wrong with me? You know, what's wrong with us? We have degrees, if that means anything. We're not drunks. We're not crooks. We're not dope addicts. What is wrong with us? How come I'm 32 years old and I don't got nothing?
How come all I can do is afford the house and the 2 children and the wife, and I do not have $5,000 in the bank? What's wrong with me? You know, is there something wrong with me? Let me tell you something. If you happen to be a man, that is an awesome kind of a question to ask yourself. That's an ugly state to have to exist in. And I've always thought of courage as being the kind of a courage like, you know, come step on my toe and I will show you courage. You know, or if a bear comes into your house and attacks you, obviously you'll defend the family. That doesn't even require a decision. Or if a baby falls in a lake or in a burning building, hey, everybody will go after it. At least they ought to. To me, that's obvious. I'll tell you a different kind of courage, and what I think is the most important. And that is the courage to gaze upon yourself, look in your own mental mirror, and say, partner, you got a problem. There must be something wrong with you. I do not like you as you are. Maybe it's not your fault, but I will tell you what we're going to do. We are going to change it. We are going to add either knowledge or skill or attitude. We're going to do something that makes us a more valuable person to other people, because I want more out of my life than what I'm getting, and it's got to be my fault. That requires courage, ladies and gentlemen, a great deal of it. I'll tell you another kind of courage is when you have decided that, and you run over and you tell your wife or your friend or your relatives or whomever, you run over and say, I just made up my mind. The most wonderful thing, I'll tell you something. I read this book or I heard this record, or whatever you've done that brings you to that state, and you say, not only that, I'll tell you what, in the next 12 months, I'm going to make $25,000. And the guy says, please, John, you know, do I have to listen to this, you know? That's another crazy scheme of yours. It requires courage to gaze that boy right in the eye and say, partner, let's get one thing straight. The last thing I need from you is any advice or comments on your great brain, because you ain't got none. That's hard. You understand? I've done that to my good fat brother-in-law. That is not an easy thing to do. Courage. The courage to decide what you want to do. The courage to face yourself as it is. The courage to listen to other people tell you it won't work and still go ahead and do it. Hey, that is worth money. That is worth your life.